Ta-da.
Whew. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome back to the Blurring the Lines podcast. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I've had a busy week, but it's coming to a close. How about you?
But it shouldn't be too bad because we only record monthly now.
I've had a busy month, but it's coming to a close. How are you?
Oh, yeah, it's been busy here too. Did a little bit of traveling, and then, of course, before you travel, you got to do a bunch of work, and after you travel, you got to do a bunch of work, and so yeah, keeping it busy. So,
but are you keeping it real?
No, of course not.
No, unreal. Yes. Keeping it unreal.
Keeping it unreal. My life is an unreal experience.
Well, I want to hear about your recent travel experience.
Yeah.
But before that, I figured I would just get all my stuff out of the way real fast.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
By the time you listen to this, dear listener, I will have run a half marathon race. Yay. And knock on wood, God willing, I hope I'll be able to finish in under 2 hours. I'm targeting a sub 2, which would be my first for a half. So let's keep fingers crossed there. Let's see. And I'm diving into AI, and I'm going through the Claude certified architect training.
Oh, right look at you.
Yes. Now, I'm not going to take the test, because to take the test, you need to be an Anthropic partner, which I'm not. And I'm also not I'm not looking to get a job as an AI architect, so to speak, specifically. But the other reason that I'm not going to take the test is that the certification only lasts, guess how long? How long is the certification good for?
I would say a minimum a year. 6 months.
6 months exactly.
6 months.
Yep.
Because it changes so fast.
Bingo. Yep. I mean, I just so to that point, as we're recording this 2 days ago, I think Anthropic released Claude managed agents, which essentially is going to replace, it looks like it's going to replace the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, because you can essentially, the example I saw, and I haven't even had a chance to finish all of the example videos, let alone actually look into the product itself. But you can get an API key to, for instance, Jira or ClickUp or ServiceNow or something, and then just tell Claude, okay, go do stuff, and it can just go do stuff into your account like that, as opposed to using the Model Context Protocol, which was the old way to do it.
So give me one thing that you could have an agent do.
Open a Jira or open a ServiceNow ticket for all of these clients and let them know that they're running a vulnerable version of blah, and we plan to address it on your network during this time frame. Please let me know if you have any questions. So spam an email out, and then while you're at it, assign that ticket to Adam so he gets all of the responses.
Nice.
First thing that just came to mind, right?
Yeah.
Just something like that. Well,
I mean, you tell people, you're like, well, you can do an agent. Oh, okay. What's that mean? That means
an agent?
A bot that'll work for you. Oh, cool. So what can it do? It can do anything. It can do anything.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what to have it do if it can do anything.
Yes. I'm like that too. I need examples. Give me some concrete examples and let me know what's really, what this thing can do.
Because once you have an example, you can if it can create tickets and send emails, then it could query this and send me emails when I want to know that. Yeah, I'm with you now. Thanks.
Exactly. Because if you don't, then the thing is, you can be overwhelmed with the choices. Like, it can do anything. Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. Or oh, well, if it can do anything, have it do this. Oh, well, it can't do that. So those are the two natural outcomes to that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got to have an API for that with that software. Oh, I can't get that. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. How do
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. No, so that's cool. Yeah, we tried to for our listeners, we tried to do a Blurring the Bruise podcast where we watched Peter do some Claude integration, and it really would have been cool if it worked on the podcast, but it didn't.
It didn't work. We didn't have the prerequisites, and it was kind of funny. That was a classic. So, Scott was trying to walk me through setting up Claude and its Telegram integration. So I'd be able to send messages to Claude, for example. And he started, following the documentation at step 1, but there were prerequisites there. It's like, oh, well, you have to have Bun installed, and you have to have this installed, and you have to have Claude Code installed. Well, I had Claude Code installed. I'd never even heard of Bun. Didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
But
step
apparently,
1 could be check to see if you have this prerequisite.
Yeah, exactly. It did say here are the prerequisites, but we kind of glossed over those. So, shame on us. So that episode will probably never see the light of day.
No, we saw 5 minutes of fun there for for an hour and 15 minutes.
I was going to say 5 minutes of fun and an hour and a half of frustration. The juice was not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I still, I've not used Claude at all. And what turned me off of Claude was early on, it was a local standalone engine, not what ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini are today. And now Claude is that today. But I was still under the assumption that it was, this local AI engine that you built and ran and controlled. But I was like, yeah.
I don't know. As long as I've been using Claude, it was in the browser. When I first was exposed to it, they had maybe. Are you thinking of Olama?
I don't know.
Llama.
Yeah, I don't know. It was you had told me you were using it and you were running it on a virtual machine, and it was taking a lot of resources. And I was like,
no, that was Llama. That was Llama, not Code. Different one. That was the Facebook open source model. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, Claude was cloud native from the beginning. So.
All right. Well. Yeah. I just had misinformation stuck in my head, or misunderstanding stuck in my head.
You misunderestimated the power of Claude.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. So tell us about your recent excursions.
Yeah. So this was my first trip to Europe. I've never been to Europe before. And so the first place we went, it was Poland, but we did have to fly into Germany, and we flew into Munich and we flew back out through Frankfurt. And that airport and the German airports were really complex and not precisely intuitive. And some of it was because, we flew in on American and we flew out on Lufthansa. But the American is a very small footprint in Germany because it's in another country, obviously. So it wasn't as easily and intuitive as to where it was. And there were multiple terminals, and you're like, the arrow says, go to terminal 2. And you're like, where's terminal 2? I don't know. But it was really big. And I also had some, I don't know, is a completely uninformed observation, is that the German airport had a lot more cars on the tarmac than I'm used to seeing. Like buses, cars, maintenance vehicles, people that are working the airport. There was traffic lanes in the airport or on the tarmac moving while we're coming in with planes. And I was like, this feels unnatural to me, because cars, the cars are like way out of the way, everywhere else. But I mean, I'm sure it's some German engineering feat that they have considered the efficiencies and modeled it.
I was going to say the German airplanes and the cars, they know where to go. They go to their correct spots. Follow the lines. They don't cross them. Everything is good.
Yeah. There's no problems there. But it was different, obviously. But I didn't have any problems being an English speaker. I mean, I picked up, some words.
I just lost your audio.
Did you lose me? Can you get me? Hello?
I can't tell if it's me or you.
Testing.
I'm not sure what happened. Everything was choppy a little bit, and I'm sure that was on my side, but you just went completely blank. I'm going to try reconnecting. Unless you think it was you.
This is me on a different mic.
No, I think it's me. Hang on.
This is a private meeting and a private podcast.
Can I hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
No, I cannot. I'm going to try changing my output from my headphones to something else. Okay. Trying to just change it to the built-in MacBook speakers, and I'm getting a spinny ball.
That's always fun.
That was hard. I'm going to take the AirPods out, put them away. Oh, I heard something there.
Hey, do you hear me now?
Wow. So my AirPods just stopped broadcasting audio for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Question is, hear you now?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you on my Mac Mini, but I routed the audio out through my MacBook speakers because the MacBook Pro speakers are superior to the Mac Mini's built-in crappy speaker.
There you go. All right. So what I was saying is, I don't speak German or Polish, so speaking English was not an obstacle there. And there are so many people that speak so many different languages, and they kind of take a look at you and start speaking to you in what language they think you speak in. But everybody's so quick to when whatever your native language, however you respond, they respond, and like we got a guide and he's Polish, but he spoke Spanish. He spoke Russian. He said he's passable with Italian,
Yeah.
And I was like, it's fascinating that people can do that.
I'm so envious, and I wish, like I'm losing more and more Portuguese and Japanese every day, and I'm trying to pick up German, but I'm not doing so very quickly, other than complete immersion. I don't think that's going to really happen, but I am just so envious of people who can just switch languages at the drop of a hat. And, it's just like, wow, where do you put it all?
Yeah. So Dzień dobry is hello, which is not precisely hello. It's more like a greetings, greeting to you. You say it in the morning, you say it, so it's not like buenos dias, you say in the morning, and buenas tardes, buenas noches, it's all dzień dobry. Yeah. And it's completely, I mean, I don't have any language reference for the Polish language that match up. Like German it feels like you're saying English words in a different way, but the Slavic, no, it doesn't feel like it at all.
Yep. Well, that's because English is a Germanic language, so it is familiar to us. So yeah, that makes sense. Oh.
Yeah, but I really, so this was my first European country, and and I also knew that Poland was not, they were not a part of the USSR, but they were communist partners with the USSR. So they had, big communism roots. And so it's a very complex history. They have a very, and it's long. I saw the oldest building I've ever seen in my life. The building was made, it was a church. Was it? I don't think it was a monastery, but maybe it was a cathedral. 1096 on the building. I'm like, that's the oldest building I've ever seen. It was really cool.
There's some old stuff over there for sure.
Yeah. And where we went to Kraków, and Kraków has, and the reason my daughter is there, she's studying architecture, is it did not get bombed during World War II. It was occupied. Yep. And so the hotel that we stayed in was actually occupied by German soldiers during World War II. I thought that was interesting. You're not just reading about history, you're stepping in place where history occurred.
Yep.
And we went to Auschwitz while we were there. That's a really powerful experience. I think every person should do that. Just, hey, we need to remember never to do this again.
There's a lot of people out there today who could use a reminder like that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. So like I said, it was very powerful. They have plaques, like memorial, big brass plaques. I don't know, like a 4 foot by 4 foot, and it's written in each language of people who are represented that went through there. And I need to look up, because I don't know exactly. It's not a long sentence, but it's essentially, this is a place of despair and should be remembered so that we don't ever experience this again. I need to look up the exact. My wife took a picture of it, but it was in every language. So if you came up, you could read the same message in your tongue, which I thought that was really powerful. But that was cool. The interesting thing with people there, because there are people there who are of the age that they lived through communism, because it's only been 36 years since really that fell. So a 20-year-old, who was 20 then is now 56, our age, a little older than us, would have lived under communist rule and understood what life was like. I didn't really get to talk to anybody, but I didn't have any. I was there for 7 days. I didn't have time to build a relationship to somebody. Hey, Eddie, did you experience communism? Can you talk to me about that? But I think it would be interesting to go back and spend time and I don't know, just historically talk to some people about it. I'm sure there's plenty of documents out there on YouTube I could watch or whatever, but it's not the same as talking to a person. But one thing I noticed with the people in general, they won't, it's kind of like going to New York or Boston. You don't make eye contact with the people on the street. The difference is, and if I do make eye contact with somebody in Boston on the street, they're like, what do you want?
That sums it up pretty well.
Don't you front me. But there they don't make eye contact. But if they do, and this is generically speaking, it's not 100% true of every person. But if they do make eye contact, it's very stoic. There's nothing to it. But if you smile at them or engage them, they are very quick to also engage. They're not sitting there saying, well, what do you want from me? Why are you talking to me? Because they didn't want anything, just being polite. Hey, how you doing? But they looked really hard when they would come at you, or like you're walking on the street and you say hello, and they would immediately soften and hello, and then they'd keep going on their way. So I thought that was just kind of a interesting posture of, hey, I'm a hard person, but if you're nice, I can be nice too.
Polish hospitality,
Polish
Polish charm.
So, and then I also noticed that, I mean, you could say that I look European. I could argue that I look European, but, just by my features, but they're not as tan as me. They also don't wear a ball cap all the time. When I'm outdoors, I have a ball cap on because I don't have any hair. I mean, so I cover my head so it doesn't get burned. And nobody wears sunglasses. So I'm walking down the street with a tan and a ball cap and sunglasses. It's pretty clear you ain't from around here.
You stick out like a sore thumb in a barn door or something.
Yeah. But so it was funny. So some people would just speak to us in English. I had this one young man. He was, I don't know, probably young teens, maybe 13, and it was obvious that he was Polish. He looked Polish, just and he walks past me. He goes, "Sup?" And I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" Because
okay, that's clever. I like that.
Yeah. So that was fun. So we tried. There's plenty of Polish beers to try. Some of the smaller island countries that we go to, there might be like 2 beers that are local, but they had a lot of local draft beer.
Yep.
And they were all really good. Nice flavor. Because I went with the lager. So my wife went with wheat beer, and I went with lager, and I really enjoyed that. And you can get 1,000 milliliter beer in a lot of those places, which for those who don't understand the metric system, that is 1 liter of beer.
How many pints is that?
That is it 2 pints? 4 pints. Yeah, 2 pints.
About 2, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 pints is so yeah, it was I did enjoy it. The food was good. Of course, we ate out at restaurants. I mean, we didn't have any like home cooked meals, but everything we had was really good. Had pierogies for the first time, but I mean, it's a dumpling, and then, but yeah, it was good.
Cool.
I've got lots of pictures in the square, and it's a really beautiful. I go to Oaxaca in Mexico, and it has a square, and the square in Poland is like, well, compared to the Mexican, it's like I can see the influence of the European square in Oaxaca, but it's much cleaner and well maintained in Poland. So, but I really enjoyed it. So I would go back, and I wouldn't have chosen to go there at all. If my daughter weren't there, I wouldn't, you said, Adam, you want to, your first pick of going to the first city that you want to go to in Europe, where do you want to go? I would say Spain, Italy, France. I mean, those would be like the first. Now, do I want to go to Germany? Yes, I do want to go to Germany. Do I want to go, do I want to go to Greece? Yes, I do want to go to Greece, but you're like, hey, you get to pick the first European country. Well, Poland was not in my list.
Yep. And apparently Krakow is it's popular, and it's supposedly really affordable. And like you said, there's a lot of history there too. So you can definitely, sounds like you got a good time. So,
Yeah. The food was very affordable. It was about a third of the zlotys is about a third of our dollar. And meals were according. So Elizabeth and I would go out for dinner, and we would eat, we would have a meal, we'd have a beer, we'd have a dessert, and it'd be about 60 or 70 US dollars. Now, things like Coke, like you want to buy a Coke Zero, you're going to pay about $3 for that. It'll be 14 Slotsky.
That doesn't sound all that affordable compared to what I was told then. Doesn't sound
well
that different.
Products like that. So, buying a Coke at a convenience store is going to be twice what we pay, because we pay about $1.50, $1.70 for a Coke. But yeah, it's like $3. But now the other foods, if you're buying food in restaurant, it is affordable. But if you're going to get these like things like that, it's more expensive.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, and what I really loved was I loved the public transportation.
Yep.
So you could buy a pass, and you got the bus, you got the trolley. You didn't get the train. The train was a separate deal, but it wasn't expensive to get on the train. And they were all clean. They all had, once you learned, you could read the schedule, and they were very understandable. I always feel somewhat confused when I go to Boston and I'm looking at the rail, and it's like it's not very intuitive to start with. Well, you can't get from there. You got to be on the L line. And what I think also helped is they had an app, and I could say on the app, I'm at Hotel Polonia. How do I get to here? And it would tell me which lines I start with and which transfers I make. And that was really helpful, because I don't think I would have wanted to do that without the app, because how would you know?
Google Maps or Apple Maps wasn't good for that?
I didn't try that.
Okay.
I tried because my daughter had been there for a month, and she's like, yeah, you download that. I use this app. I said, well, I need to know what it is. And I did.
Yeah, because I found Google Maps was really helpful in Berlin,
Okay.
and a lot of like what you're saying about the public transportation. I think that's pretty standard for most of Europe. Certainly true for Germany. But in Germany, you can buy like I buy a 30-day pass when the last couple times I've gone there. And it does everything except like the long range trains, but it'll do the short range trains and buses, the U-Bahn, the underground, the subway, and the S-Bahn, the surface trolleys. And you just basically walk on, walk off. No one, the whole time I was there, the entire like time in September, no one ever asked me to see my ticket. It was like
I know.
the entire time.
I guess it must be a very steep penalty to not have it, because everybody I saw got their ticket, but we never were checked once.
Yep. Yeah.
I take that back.
Just a culture difference, I guess.
Yeah, I take that back. We did get checked. So we took a train from our hotel to the airport. And that train, they did check. So I did pay for that. But then she came around and actually scanned it. So that happened to us when I was back in Berlin in February for my birthday. We got on the train and bought the ticket, but we didn't immediately validate the ticket. Right.
And luckily the conductor was in a forgiving mood. Otherwise they would have charged you like the maximum time for like 30 days or whatnot on that. But we had the, like, we're stupid Americans look on our face. So he took pity on us. So.
Yeah. So we're cool.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
It was a good experience. I'd do it again.
That was my question would you go it again?
And the flights, we've been doing such long flights. I don't know. It's just not that big a deal. I mean, it's a little bit nicer for you because you can get a direct flight out of Boston, can't you?
I can direct from here to Frankfurt.
Oh yeah.
And but that's about it. Maybe there's flights into Munich, I forget, but not Berlin. For Berlin, I have to connect either go through JFK or connect like via London or Paris or something.
Yeah. See, I don't mind. I mean, we're used to, if you want to leave here, you go to Dallas. I go to Dallas, and then Dallas from there to direct wherever we're going to go.
Yep.
So
Cool.
So,
Neat.
really
Well, that was cool. Well, we're a little short on time today. Do you have a nifty?
Oh, I do not have a nifty.
All right. Well,
But I
have
did have,
something.
if you
I
do
have
have something.
Oh, well, if you have something, that's good. Because I was going to say, I mean, I do have a nifty, and it would be, I will plead this DJI mini mic that I am using.
And
Yep.
so is it, you're going to tell me about it. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly. Friend of the show, Scott Wilsey, sent me this mostly for my Peter Drinks Coffee videos. But what you can see, I'll show you those of you watching the video. This is the mic, and it clips on like to your lapel or your collar. It also has a magnetic backing, so you can insert the magnetic.
Oh, you don't have to
on that way.
Nice.
It's got a little pom-pom on it for noise and plosive reduction, so you don't pop so much. And on the other end, you can't see it because I don't have desk view enabled, but there's another piece slightly larger than this on the other end of the wireless part that plugs into a USB-C port.
Okay.
And that's what I'm using. And you connect them, make sure they're both powered on, and then you press the pairing button. They talk, and it just shows up as a microphone on my Mac. And I've also done it on my iPhone. Plugs into the bottom, sits down on the bottom of the iPhone. And I've been told by people who are in the know and care about this thing that the audio is superior to like plain old AirPods or using the built-in phone microphone. So hopefully that's the case, dear listener, and hopefully if you appreciate it, maybe you should send a tip to friend of the show, Scott Wilsey.
So you need to point your mic back up at you. You got it pointed away now. But so how long is the battery life? Do you know?
I do not know.
As long as you recorded, it's been working, right?
Yes, it's supposed to be several hours, but I have not tested it yet. I haven't used it for more than like an hour or two at a time.
Okay, and this is the same DJI company that makes drones.
I believe it is. Yep.
Yes.
So I'm probably sending this recording straight to China.
Straight to China. Yeah. The
training
Chinese
on
president
models on it and everything.
Yep. The Chinese president is thanking you for your service and your money.
You're welcome, Chairman Xi. So. Cool. Well, we've got other things to do. Should we put a lid on this one and regroup in a week or so?
Yes, sir. We're gonna get back on schedule.
Yeah, except next Friday afternoon, I will probably be out. So we'll probably be back 3 Fridays from now, because the following 2 Fridays coming up, I'm already pre-booked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Unless we want to change a day, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
We will absolutely blow that bridge up behind us. So on that note, why don't you take us out?
Listener, we'd like your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. If you want to learn more about Peter or me, you can do so at peternikoladis.com, peterdoesyoga.com, peterdrinkscoffee.com, peterruns.com, and friendswithbrews.com, our friendly podcast with Scott Wilsey. And you can find me at rrlavenderfarm.com if you have to find me.
If you have to find you.
If you find me. And with that, we'll hit the big red button.